You've been told women are complicated, emotional, even unpredictable. You've been told to stay strong, stay logical, stay detached, because emotions are messy and women are a storm you should avoid. But let me ask you something: if understanding women truly was impossible, how did entire civilizations thrive on loyalty and legacy born from the union of a man and a woman? Most men don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they remain unaware. They think power lies in dominance when it actually lies in depth. If you ever want to build a connection that lasts, a connection that transforms you, then you must go beyond the surface. Today, I'm going to share with you 9 deep psychological facts about women that most men don't know. These are not tactics, these are truths. And if you use them with wisdom, not to manipulate, but to understand, you'll not only attract better women, you'll become a better man. 1. Women don't want control, they crave safety. Control is a masculine trait. Men often think, if I can control this situation, I'll win. But women don't want to be controlled. They want to feel safe enough to surrender. There's a massive difference. A woman will never fully open herself to a man she doesn't feel emotionally safe around. This doesn't mean being a yes man or a pushover. Emotional safety means presence, stability, and consistency. It means she can feel your strength even when you're silent. When a woman feels seen, heard, and safe, she blossoms. When she doesn't, she becomes guarded, cold, or chaotic. So stop trying to control her and start creating an environment her guard naturally falls away. 2. A woman's emotions are her language, not her flaws. Men are often taught to suppress their emotions, to think their way through life. But for women, emotions are life. Her emotional shifts aren't flaws, they're communication. They're signals, and if you don't speak her emotional language, you'll always misinterpret her silence, her tears, her excitement, or her distance. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't fear her feelings. He listens to them. He decodes them. And when you learn to respond rather than react, she'll begin to trust you on a level you've never experienced before. 3. Women test men for one simple reason: to feel secure. Let's get one thing straight. Women test men not because they enjoy playing games, but because their subconscious is scanning for consistency. When she challenges you, when she questions you, when she pushes you a little, it's her way of asking, can I trust you? Will you stay grounded when I'm not? Most men get angry or insecure in these moments. The wise man stays calm. He doesn't explain himself out of fear. He simply stands firm in who he is. Because the truth is, a woman doesn't want to lead the relationship. She wants to feel safe letting you lead. And she'll only follow a man who doesn't flinch under pressure. 4. A woman's intuition is a superpower you should respect. Never underestimate a woman's intuition. She may not always articulate her reasons, but she often feels the truth before the facts are visible. It's not magic. It's a finely tuned emotional radar built from thousands of microsignals. If you lie, pretend, or hide, she'll sense it long before she can prove it. But if you are transparent, honest, and grounded, even in your flaws, she'll feel deeply safe around you. Respect her intuition. It's not weakness, it's wisdom in disguise. 5. Women are turned on by emotional maturity, not just physical strength. Yes, women are biologically attracted to structure and masculinity, but what keeps them is emotional maturity. She notices how you handle stress, how you speak about others, how you deal with discomfort. When you take responsibility, when you don't blame the world, when you regulate your own emotions, that's when she sees you as a man she can build with, not just a man to flirt with. Masculinity is not aggression. Masculinity is grounded power. It's the calm in the chaos, not the cause of it. 6. A woman's need for attention isn't vanity. It's connection. Many men criticize women for craving attention, especially on social media. But understand this: the feminine energy thrives on connection, expression, and being seen. It's not always about ego. It's about emotional nourishment. When a woman doesn't feel emotionally connected to her man, she starts seeking that validation elsewhere. Not because she's weak, but because attention is a form of emotional fuel for her. If you truly want her loyalty, don't just give her time. Give her your presence. Listen to her with your eyes, respond with your heart, and make her feel like the only woman in the room. 7. Women are attracted to purpose more than perfection. Here's a truth most men miss: you don't need to be rich, ripped, or flawless to attract high quality women. But you do need to have a purpose. Women are deeply drawn to men who know where they're going. A man on a mission radiates a fire that's magnetic. He might not be perfect, but his direction makes him powerful. So if you want to be irresistible, don't obsess over fixing every flaw. Obsess over becoming a man who wakes up with a vision. A man who knows who he is and where he's headed is 10 times more attractive than a man trying to impress everyone. 8. A woman will mirror your energy, not just your words. This one's deep. You can say all the right things, read all the books, even memorize scripts. But if your energy doesn't match, she'll feel it. Women are emotional mirrors. If you're insecure, she'll reflect confusion. If you're emotionally absent, she'll seem needy. But if you're centered, strong, and honest, she'll soften. She'll relax. Because you set the tone. You lead not with commands, but with emotional congruence. In a world of fakes, the most attractive man is the one who is deeply unapologetically authentic. 9 women want to submit, but only to a man who's worthy. Yes, you heard that right. Despite what the modern world says, the feminine energy wants to surrender. But she'll never surrender to weakness, to inconsistency, or to emotional chaos. She wants a man who leads with clarity, not control. A man who can protect without suffocating, who can guide without dictating. Submission doesn't mean obedience. It means trusting you so deeply that she can let go of control and rest in your leadership. But that trust must be earned, not demanded. The question isn't, why won't she submit? The question is, have I become a man worthy of her trust? These aren't tricks, they're truths. And once you understand them, the whole game changes. You stop chasing validation and you start attracting respect. You stop reacting to her emotions and you start responding with depth. You stop needing to impress and instead you begin to express your real self. Let me say this again, most men misunderstand women not because women are too complex, but because men never take the time to understand. They think power lies in control. But the true power lies in emotional clarity, presence, and purpose. You don't have to master all of this overnight. But the moment you decide to become emotionally intelligent, the moment you choose to observe instead of judge, to lead instead of dominate, to listen instead of interrupt, most men misunderstand women not because women are too complex, but because men rarely take the time to understand the emotional and psychological blueprint women operate from. You see, it's not about cracking some impossible code. It's about shifting your lens. Most men are trained from a young age to observe the external. What she says, how she looks, what she does. But they completely overlook the internal world that drives all of it. Her decisions, her moods. They're all expressions of an emotional and psychological framework that's fundamentally different from a man's. This isn't about weakness or irrationality. It's about biology and design. Women are wired to sense, to feel, to connect. They don't compartmentalize emotions like men do. Their emotional state influences their physical world, not the other way around. But instead of learning to decode that world, most men dismiss it. They call her crazy, too sensitive, unpredictable. But what they're really saying is, I don't understand her, and I've never tried to. That lack of understanding becomes the root of distance, arguments, and disconnection. It's not that she's hard to love. It's that most men try to love her from a surface level. They bring logic to an emotional conversation. They offer solutions when she's craving empathy. They shut down when she opens up, and then they wonder why she pulls away. Understanding a woman is not about agreeing with everything she says. It's not about walking on eggshells. It's about tuning into the frequency she communicates on, the emotional frequency. It's about realizing that her reactions are data, not drama, that her words carry layers beneath them, and that behind every emotional expression is a deeper needing to feel seen, safe, and supported. When you begin to approach her with curiosity instead of judgment, with presence instead of pride, you unlock a connection that goes far beyond the physical. You stop looking at her like a puzzle to be solved and start seeing her as a universe to be explored. And that shift alone changes everything. When you understand a woman's inner world, you stop reacting and start responding. Power doesn't come from control, but from alignment with her deeper emotional nature. Most men live on the surface of their relationships. They react to her words, her moods, her energy, like someone walking through a storm without understanding the weather patterns. But a man who has studied her emotional landscape, who understands her triggers, her fears, her longings, doesn't get thrown off by every shift in the wind. He doesn't see her emotional waves as threats. He sees them as invitations. Invitations to lead with empathy, to anchor with presence, to protect with emotional strength. You see, the immature man confuses dominance with power. He thinks being louder, colder, or more rigid gives him control. But what he doesn't realize is that every time he tries to control a woman, he pushes her further away from her natural feminine energy. He doesn't realize that true power, lasting power, doesn't come from force. It comes from flow, from understanding, from alignment. A man aligned with a woman's emotional nature doesn't just lead. He guides her gently into her softness, her radiance, her trust. He becomes the steady riverbank to her emotional currents. He creates the safety where she no longer has to fight, defend, or mask herself. And when that happens, something beautiful unfolds. The relationship transforms from a battlefield into a sanctuary. So ask yourself this: do you want to control her or understand her? Because the man who understands her, who responds instead of reacts, doesn't just win her body. He earns her soul. He becomes the man she turns to, not because she has to, but because